creatures around me. I looked up and they were, if I would gauge, 20 foot plus, just huge creatures, right? Kind of hovering over. They had these long hands. And I literally saw that they grabbed something. There was to the lack of it's an ugly potato was right here with a long stinger. Like it's almost like a mosquito's head. It was like some weird thing. Then I saw it. And then they grabbed this thing and they start pulling it. And I could see this stinger coming out of my chest. It was going through my body. And they were pulling this out. Right? And then just carried it away. I have encounters with creatures. Now, everybody's experience is different. There was a time when I asked for help. And I got help from creatures. These were also grayish, bluish creatures, really tall. This was the only time I could.
Wait, that's the thing with your chest?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a wild one.
I can walk around on DMT. I could operate, vehicles I should operate. You know what I mean? But so, it's completely conscious. This was the
don't
only.
Don't do it, kids.
Yeah, no, just don't.
Do not try this at home.
But it takes experience and hundreds of times to being there. But this was the only time when I was pushed back. Like a lot of people, smoke DMT and they lay back and experience it that way. I sit in a meditation position. This was the only time I got pushed back. Like I forcefully, like I felt like just, flat. But I went into that space for a reason. Like I had this anger and I couldn't explain. And then, I'm meditating since I was a little kid, right? So it's not normal. My general, being is not, things just are, whatever, right? And it's really an alien experience to me that I had this pertaining, just this anger. Like I would wake up almost every day, like there was this anger. And it was weird because I had an outside perspective of it. Like I realized, okay, engine light is on. Why is it on?
Yeah.
Like, I was angry, but it was sort of an external experience still. Like there was an anxiety. Like I would just do this all day. Like it's just. So I knew that okay, engine light is on. There's something's wrong. I'm angry and anxious, and I am perceiving that. And in a weird way, I compartmentalize it. It doesn't affect what I'm doing, but it's just there. That's what I mean. Like engine light is on, so I'm aware that something, and it was not going away. It just kept happening day after day after day, for like 3, 4, 5 weeks. And so, and I meditate, I do my things, and I'm like, let's clear it, and I would clear as much as possible, but it just creeps back. Like, what the hell? And so I had this wild idea, like, you know what? Let's go into the space and let's find out.
Let's go meet the mechanic.
let's see the doctors, right? And I went into this with this was after I got back. This was after I kicked out. So this is, to me, this is again a reason that I'm coming in a space with consciousness, with a purpose. I came into this with a purpose. And this was this is what I lay my brick when I say this happened, right? And I'm going to anchor that this happened. I was sitting there and I felt like forcefully I was pushed back, which is not normal to me. Like I fell back. And there were these giant, tall creatures around me. I looked up and they were, if I would gauge, 20 foot plus, just huge creatures, right? Kind of hovering over. They had these long hands. And I literally saw that they grabbed something. There was to the lack of it's an ugly potato was right here with a long stinger. Like it's almost like a mosquito's head. It was like some weird thing. Then I saw it. And then they grabbed this thing and they start pulling it. And I could see this stinger coming out of my chest. It was going through my body. And they were pulling this out. Right? And then just carried it away. And where is verifiable to me that I felt it. I felt how I kind of relaxed. And I'm like, wow. And the anxiety leaving me. So and I can cut ahead of the story that after this whole anxiety and anger just went away. So verifiably this happened because also the agreed upon reality thing that was happening to me stopped. So I know that there is a physical proof that no longer this anxiety, anger was no longer there.
Wow.
And so they grabbed this thing, they took it away, and this is the difference between 5-MeO and NN. That
This was 5-MeO?
This is NN.
Oh, this is NN. Okay.
Because I can have a completely conscious, logical conversation. Why you don't really have that on 5-MeO. It's you going to the boss and language and all that stuff stops. Right? And here I got the packets of data like, okay, this is a thing that you guys, meaning humans, you call these demons. But it's not a thing with a bad intention. It's not a demon. That's you just call it a demon. And so what this is, it's like, when sharks are swimming, they have the little fish goes around them, and then they grab whatever left over. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so that's what it is. You have a certain frequency, you put out a certain energy, and there are entities that will be attracted to that. Mm-hmm. So technically it's a parasite, right? It's a parasite that something pissed you off, let's say, and then you are on that frequency. You're angry and you're on that frequency. And there are going to be parasites or creatures that are attracted to that. You're leaking that now. And then they will be around and they feed on that as long as you're angry. Mm-hmm. Once your anger is gone, they have no more food. They will be gone. But if you're angry today and tomorrow and after tomorrow, and it keeps happening, something bothers you and you keep yourself in this state, these entities, these parasites start to become familiar with you. And they don't have much, this was all told to me. They don't have a lot of complex processes, but enough for them to know that, okay, this is my food source now, and I'm here for a while, and I'm start to be familiar with this creature that's giving me this food. And so all we have to do is getting him in a position where he's pissed, and then he will leak this food. And so bad stuff starts happening to you because they're not complex creatures, but they can, to some degree, affect what happens in reality. Wow. Right? So because they can affect your mental processes, because now your little demons are attached to you, right? And you live your life, but your mental process is not completely unaffected. So that's basically what they said. These creatures are affecting your mental processes enough to steer you just a little bit into the direction that you will be angry or dissatisfied. So therefore you will generate that frequency, that energy that they feed on. So these creatures were basically telling me like, okay, we remove this thing, but be careful. Do not chill. Don't get back to this particular frequency. Be very conscious of it because they will be back. Wow. So that was and they removed this thing, and then after that, like it was just gone. Like a month worth of anger and unaccounted anger. I don't know what I was angry about, or this anxiety. I don't know. I have no problems. I don't know where it is coming from. Yeah. So that's why this was strange, and so I used NN DMT for this process, and this is what happened. And I don't care. 8 billion people can argue about this. I don't give a crap. Right. This happened. Right. I experienced this. Yeah. I don't care what you got to say about this. This happened to me, right? And it's verifiable, and I can verify it in the agreed upon reality right here. I'm not anxious, not angry, and I was for about a month, unexplainably, right? So those are those experiences when we gotta drop the anchor. Like, hey, it happened. Nobody can take this away from me. This happened, right? And so, so like this was just an example of entities and how that process works. In NNDMT, for me, it's rare that I come across entities. To me, it's it's a very cerebral. And there are places I go to. Like there is this place I would go to where I call it the ecstasy of existence. Like it's almost like a giant structure, and I am aware that there are a lot of beings are in there, non-formal. Like these are not like the entity that kicked me out. I had a full vision of like a figure, right? These are almost like non-figurative or like. What would be the word for it?
They don't have a form.
They don't, formless. I just feel the energy, and there are thousands of them in there just whirling, and they're like in this state of ecstasy, of almost like they realize that we exist and how amazing that is. And so generally that's my process. I go to the NN space
with a intention.
First, I body check. The first hit is always, am I clear to go? Meaning, it's like, Houston, all systems are good. Are we angry? Are we distracted? Are we cool? Am I sharp? Am I focused? This has to be the first. So I'm not distracted. If I'm distracted with something, then I stay in this space. I will not take a second hit.
Okay.
I will stay there. And then I simply can find this place, and I go there, and I just exist, and there is this ecstasy sort of feeling. So I know this place. I go if my system check is not coming back clear, there's an engine light on, washer liquid missing, whatever the frick it is, right? Then I'm staying here, and I'm gonna go to this place, and I just have this renewed, happy sort of face, and I just stay there. If everything is cool, then we go further. And then those processes are very cerebral. It's rare for me that I see entities and encounter. It's all these mental abstract processes. Now, 5-MeO, there's none of this happens. This is elevator straight up. There is nothing in between. It just goes to dissolution and entering this space where everything is just this one thing.
Yeah.